Hi guys, welcome back to Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host Jamie Carter. Um, it's been a great week in the football. It's been absolutely fantastic. But we're going to go. I'm going to do a review, obviously, of the weekend's action. Starting in the Premier League as usual. Um, there's a couple of not shocks, but just a few things going on. AFC Bournemouth were playing against Leicester City, and they went 1-0 behind, thanks to a goal from Patson Daka for Leicester City. But they come back in the second half. One goal from Billing and another goal from Christie allowed Bournemouth to have a 2-1 win. Bournemouth continue their good start to the season, bar the 9-0 defeat at Liverpool. They've had a fantastic start. They've drawn three, they've lost three, and won three. So they're doing really, really well at the start of the season. Brighton were up against Tottenham in the evening kickoff. Tottenham got a narrow win. Kane got a stooping header to make it 1-0 to Tottenham. That keeps Tottenham in third place behind Manchester City and Arsenal. Manchester City had a comfortable win 4-0 at the weekend. Goals from Cancelo, Foden, Mahrez, and Haaland. I almost said Alfinger Haaland then, and Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland now has 15 goals this season in 9 games, which is absolutely crazy. Harry Kane is just behind him with 8 goals in I believe 9 games, so he's doing really well as well. But yeah, Man City continue, to have really good results. Man City are currently top of the table going into this weekend. We've got massive games on today. Obviously, Arsenal are playing against Liverpool. Manchester United are playing away at Everton. Crystal Palace are at home to Leeds, and also West Ham are at home to Fulham in a London derby. Be interesting to see what the scores will be in that. Obviously, I'll do a review on that on Monday. But yeah, going into the rest of the games for the weekend, Chelsea had a comfortable 3-0 win against Wolves. Diego Costa, the legend at Chelsea, was back on his return playing for Wolves, but Wolves didn't do anything. They lost 3-0. Havertz scored, Pulisic, and a late goal from Brozier. Continues Graham Potter's great start at Chelsea. He now has 3 wins on the bounce. He's doing a fantastic job. They beat AC Milan 3-0 in the week as well. Um, and they're going great guns. They beat Crystal Palace 2-1 as well. So a fantastic week for Chelsea. Chelsea are lying in fourth position. Brighton and Newcastle are in fifth. Brighton dropped down to sixth after losing to, like I say, Tottenham. Newcastle absolutely smashed Brentford 5-1. 2 goals from Gimenez, Murphy Almiron, and an own goal from Ethan Pinnock. Ivan Toney got a goal back for Brentford. But yeah, Newcastle doing really well. Like I say, they're lying in fifth at the moment. The table could all change, obviously, today if Manchester United win at Everton. Um, and even if Fulham was to win at West Ham, even so, which we hope won't happen. But that's what's going on for the weekend's games anyway in the Premier League. That's what's happened so far. On to the Championship. On a Friday night, Queen's Park Rangers was up against Reading. Both of them are in the playoff areas in the Championship. But QPR had a fantastic start to the season. They've now won 7, drawn 3, and lost 3. They won 2-1 against Reading after going 1-0 down from an Andy Carroll penalty. Andy Carroll on his second spell at Reading. Um, Lyndon Dykes finally got on the score sheet a bit more this season. He got 2 goals. He got one normal goal to equalise, and then another penalty, which allowed QPR to the 2-1 win. That pushed QPR up into third in the league on Friday night, and that's where they remained after the Saturday's games as well. So Sheffield United was playing away at Stoke. Stoke pulled off a bit of a shock. Stoke were 2-1 up at half time. Goals from Wilmot, Jagielka, Delap allowed them to win 3-1. Ryan Brewster got one back for Sheffield United, but it wasn't enough. I mean, at one point it was 1-1, but Stoke did really well. Jagielka scored his first goal in 2 years. It's only his second goal in 16 years, which is mental, but he obviously is a old-fashioned defender. He's now 39 years old, so it was good for him to get a goal. Norwich had a massive shock as well at home, who were at the top of the table as well. Norwich lost 3-2 to Preston, which meant Sheffield United remained top despite losing as well. So the top two in the Championship lost. Preston, like I say, They won 3-2 at Norwich. 2 goals from Jacobson, one from Troy Parrott, and a goal from Sargent and Sarah for Norwich. But yeah, like the top two did really badly at the weekend, to be fair. Burnley was away at Coventry. They won 1-0. Goal from Nathan Teller, who's doing really good on loan from Southampton. Birmingham City absolutely smashed Bristol City 3-0. 2 goals from Trusty, who's on loan from from Arsenal, and Dion Sanderson. Blackburn won 3-0 against Rotherham. 2 goals from Ben Brereton Diaz and one from Smodics. That put Brereton up there with Estupiñán as the top goal, near the top goal scorers. He's got 7 now, Brereton. Estupiñán's got 8 goals. Blackpool pulled off a shock as well. They won 3-1 at home to Watford. An early goal from Medina on the 10th minute. Loser equalised for Watford to make it 1-1, but Jerry Yates got 2 goals in the second half to make it 3-1 to Blackpool. Much needed points for Blackpool. They were right near the relegation zone. Blackpool pull away from the relegation zone a little bit now. They're now 4 points clear of it after that result. Millwall was playing against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have had a shocking run at the moment. They've had a really poor start to the season. They're one of the favourites to go up at the start of the season. Obviously, they've got rid of Chris Wilder. Things keep going from bad to worse. Zane Fleming scored in the week for Millwall. He scored 2 against Middlesbrough at the weekend to allow them to get a 2-0 win, which pushes Millwall into sort of mid-table area. Swansea City beat Sunderland 2-1. Swansea City still missing their 2 main strikers up front. Ellis Sims, who's on loan from Everton, and they're also missing Ross Stewart as well, 2 of their main strikers. So a bit harsh for them at the moment. 2 goals from a goal from Cooper and Darling for Swansea. Clark scored for Sunderland, but it wasn't enough. Swansea continue a really, really good run. They now won the last 3 games on the bounce, and they're up into the 6th place, the last place in the playoffs at the moment. West Brom was playing against Luton. West Brom have had a really poor start to the season as well, along with Middlesbrough. They drew 0-0 against Luton at home. A lot of the fans were calling for Steve Bruce to get sacked, but he was quite defiant in the newspaper. It remains to be seen whether he will be there on Monday morning. We don't know yet, but obviously I'll report on that further down the line. Then there was a really controversial game at the weekend at the DW Stadium, Wigan Athletic. Now, Wigan Athletic, they have also have rugby, obviously, playing their rugby league playing there, and one of their goals was 2 inches higher than the other one, and that was mainly down to the fact that they didn't change it for the they didn't change one end properly in time for the game. They kept the rugby height up for it, so that it was 2 inches higher than the other goal. So there's been a bit of a FA probe into it now, apparently. Cardiff City, as it was on the day, won 3-1. So in my opinion, I think if Wigan made a balls up on it, I think the result should stand, because obviously that's on Wigan, it's not on Cardiff. They shouldn't have to replay the game again. But goals from Robinson, Ojo and Wintle for Cardiff allowed them to a 3-1 win. Charlie White got a goal back after looking like he nearly died a few years ago in a training ground incident when he had a heart attack. But he came back and got his first goal since coming back from that, which is obviously good news for him and his family. Doing really good. So looking at, like I say, in the Championship, Estupiñán's still the top goal scorer for Hull. They're playing at the moment. They're losing 1-0 to Huddersfield Town at the moment. I think they'll lose 2-0. I said 2-0 at the start of the day, I thought to myself. But so yeah, Huddersfield could be out of the they won't be out of the relegation zone, but if they do beat Hull today, they'll still be in the relegation zone, but they'll only be 2 points from safety rather than 5 points like they are at the moment. So yeah, it's looking interesting in the Championship. The leading assist person for the Championship at the moment is Elias Chair for QPR with 5. So he's leading the assists. QPR having a fantastic season under Michael Beale, who was the assistant coach to Stephen Gerrard at Aston Villa last season, and he was also coach of the under-21s, I believe, or under-18s at Liverpool, and he'd done a fantastic job there as well. So things looking up for QPR. I go and watch them a few times, and their fans will be absolutely loving it. But anyway, we're going to go into League One. League One, at the top of the table, Plymouth still remain there after having a great 3-0 win at home to Accrington Stanley at the weekend. Goals from Ennis, Cosgrove and Hardy gave them that 3-0 victory. Ipswich Town, they came from behind away at Morecambe to maintain their second place in the league. Thanks to second half goals from Edmondson and an Evans penalty. Phillips had originally put Morecambe in front. Going on to other teams that are up the top there, Sheffield Wednesday had a comfortable 3-0 win at home to Cheltenham. Goals from Windus Bannon and Deli Bashiri. So that was good for them. That kept Sheffield Wednesday in third in the league. Portsmouth was playing at home, and they were playing at home to Fleetwood Town. They got a 1-1 draw. Barnsley were playing at home to Exeter and had a shock 2-0 defeat. 2 goals from Stansfield has kept Exeter just outside the playoffs, lying in 8th in League One at the moment. They're having a great start to the season considering that they just got promoted from League Two. Also, looking through the other results, Bristol Rovers just pushed themselves out of the relegation zone, coming from behind. They weren't coming from behind. They scored early on through an own goal from Taylor for Cambridge, 17 minutes. Ironside equalised for Cambridge on the 35th minute, but Coburn scored in the second half for Bristol Rovers and gave them a much-needed win to ease their relegation fears at the moment. So that was good for Rovers. Derby County had a shock 2-1 defeat against Port Vale, but they had a player sent off early on. So Port Vale had a great win there. Forest Green pulled off a shock against Bolton to keep Bolton lying in 6th in the League One table. They won 1-0. Connor Wickham's on a superb run now. Connor Wickham had a bit of a dip in form playing in some Championship teams, but now he's playing down at League One level. He's got 5 goals now in the last 4 games, so he's doing really, really well. Connor Wickham doing some great form at the moment. Lincoln City drew 0-0 with Charlton Athletic. That keeps Lincoln still reasonably about 3 points off the relegation area, so they're doing okay. Oxford, there was a bit of a delay at Oxford. Somebody in the crowd had a heart attack or something like that. So there was a massive delay in the game. Didn't finish for about half an hour later than every other game, I think. But Wickham won in the end at Oxford 1-0. Peterborough drew 1-1 at home to Burton Albion. Burton Albion continues to try and get points on the board after a really poor start to the season. And then finally it was Shrewsbury Town playing against MK Dons, the last game in League One. Shrewsbury got a 2-1 win, so they're having a good run under Steve Cotterill at the moment. And they're not far off the playoffs. They're only 2 points off the League One playoffs at the moment, so they're doing really, really well. And we're only 12 or 11 games in for most of the teams in League One at the moment. Top goal scorer is still Johnson Clark Harris for Peterborough with 9 goals. And second to that is Brown for Exeter. But then we're going to nip into League Two now. League Two, there was a change at the top of the table. Leyton Orient was away at Doncaster Rovers. They drew 1-1. Smith scored early on from, but Biggins got an equaliser for Doncaster Rovers. That made Leyton Orient drop to second place because Stevenage had a great win at home to Swindon Town, 2 goals from Roberts. That puts Stevenage top of League Two table. As I say, Leyton Orient dropped into second. Northampton had a good win as well at the weekend. Northampton lost at the weekend even to Salford at home, but remain in third place. Salford are in 4th. Mansfield won 1-0 away against Barrow. That keeps them in 5th. Bradford lost 1-0 against Stockport, but still stay in the playoffs in 6th. And Carlisle had a great win away at Hartlepool, winning 3-1. And that keeps them in the last place in the playoffs in 7th. Looking at the other results over the weekend, Colchester moved away from the relegation zone by beating Harrogate Town 2-1, which pushed Harrogate nearer to the relegation zone. Crewe drew 1-1 with Gillingham. Grimsby Town had a great win against Crawley Town, winning 3-0. Goals from Driscoll, Glennon, Holohan and Taylor. And Newport on a really poor run. Apparently they've only won 2 of the last 15 home games, which is pretty shocking. Rochdale won 1-0, and that's they're still in the relegation area, but let's give them a bit of hope to get out of that as the season goes on. Tranmere had a good win and went away at Sutton United, winning 2-0, and Warsaw had a great win, 3-1 at home to AFC Wimbledon. So that's the review of all the weekend's action. I'm going to go into conference because I've been covering the conference. In the conference, a hell of a lot of goals. There was a mental game at Wrexham where Wrexham won 7-5 at home to Barnet. Altrincham beat Dorking 4-1. Bromley drew 1-0 with Gateshead. Dagenham drew 1-0 with Southend in an early kick-off at 12:30, a local derby. Eastleigh beat Chesterfield 2-1. Maidenhead drew 1-0 with Oldham. Maidstone drew 1-0 with Halifax Town. Scunthorpe went from 3-1 up to drawing 3-0 with Aldershot Town. They continue to be undefeated in the last 6 games, but unfortunately 4 of those have been draws. 5 games I think it is, but 4 of them have been draws. So they need to get more wins under the belt. They're down in the relegation zone, unfortunately, my boys. But yeah, anyway, so that was going on. Wilston drew lost 2-1 at home to Boreham Wood. Notts County won 3-2 away at Woking, which keeps Notts County top of the table. Surprisingly, Langstaff didn't score at the weekend. He's the top goal scorer in that league. He's scored just as many goals as it. Actually scored more goals than Erling Haaland this season. I think he scored 16 in the conference, so he's absolutely smashing them in. And then there was 2 more games. Yeovil Town drew beat Solihull Moors 1-0. And York City, who my mate Graham went to watch against Torquay, won 1-0. So yeah, like I say, top of the table in the conference. Notts County are top. Wrexham are in second, only a point behind. You've got Boreham Wood, Chesterfield, Bromley, Solihull Moors, and York are having a great start to the season. They're in the final playoff place at the moment in the National Conference. In the relegation zone, unfortunately, my boys Scunthorpe up near the bottom with Torquay, and you've got Aldershot, who Scunthorpe played yesterday, and Maidstone. So there's not much in it. If two of those teams get 2 or 3 wins together, they can quite easily be getting up near the playoffs. There's literally 11 points, like 9 points between the top relegation place and the bottom conference place. So still a lot to play for in the National Conference. That was my review of all the weekend's action. Obviously, like I said, there's 4 games in the Premier League today. There's also a Championship game being played, and also tomorrow, which will be Monday, the 10th of October, Forest will be playing against Aston Villa. Forest's new manager, their manager Cooper, he looked like he was going to get sacked, but they've given him a 3-year deal. I think they've realised that 22 players coming in is going to take a long time for him to gel, and that even if Forest were to go down this season, that they'll probably build a stronger team and get promoted again, and do something great, the season after that. So I think they're looking at it from a mature perspective that he did a miracle for Forest, really. So anyway, have a great week, whoever your teams are. Like I say, I'll be doing another episode tomorrow. This has been Football Heaven 24/7. Continue to like and subscribe. Get all your friends and family involved. And like I say, have a great time. All the best. Bye for now.